Hello traders, welcome to today's video. I hope your week has been going really well so far. I hope your trading has been profitable. If it has been, then congratulations. You have managed to escape the idiots that have been talking about the Bitcoin breakout of the ascending triangle for the past few days. And you have managed to trade this a lot more sensibly, like we have been doing over in Taurus Crypto in our crew section, managing to catch, of course, that short position yesterday from the highs that currently is on cross margin, of course, in 431% profit as we stand. And also, look, if you ever needed any reminder, we did catch the longs from all the way down here just a couple of weeks ago as well there. So yes, if you have been paying attention to us, you should be very profitable. If you have been paying attention to these guys, you're probably not. So sort your life out and get doing the right thing. Anyway, let's continue on with this video, I guess. So Bitcoin at the moment, okay, let's actually zoom out a little bit and let's start to have a look on the higher time frames here, because I do want to focus once again on these higher time frames and start to talk about where we are. So basically, okay, this is currently a range that we're putting in at some serious resistance, and basically the last resistance that we realistically have on our chart until we go up to 30k. So if we are going to look at our fixed range volume profile on here, you can see really that beyond this point in the chart here, okay, this being where we are right now, there is no volume to speak of. There has been barely any Bitcoin traded between the highs that we put in yesterday and the highs that we are just currently chopping around, and taking us up towards about that 29 to 30k region. So this gives us some very, very wide targets for what we can expect if Bitcoin does start to move out of this range that we're currently in. And that does bring with it some difficulties, because the chances that we're just going to go straight up to there in one go are fairly slim. And in the same aspect, the chances that we're going to go pew all the way back down to this POC here are fairly slim. So we've got to find the opportunities that lie ahead for taking any short positions within this extremely wide region of the chart here, or of course any long positions that may present themselves if we do start to break a little bit lower down from this range, no longer if we do break this higher low structure that we are currently in. So we're going to focus on that today, mainly looking at those targets and some areas in which you could look to take a trade. Of course, it's not going to be a situation where you just hit one of these levels, you take one of those positions. Price will always do something like this, okay? It's going to come up. Let's say, for example, we do break out. What you're going to do, you don't want to say, okay, here's your level. Price starts coming up to it, just immediately take a short position and expect it to run back down. It's not realistic, okay? You want to be looking for a range to form, and you're going to get opportunities. You don't really know where it is that you're going to get this, but you're going to get those swing failure patterns, those opportunities and those chances to take short positions once price does find resistance within one of these levels. We hope that we will be talking about within this video. Before we get started on that though, please do hit that like button, hit subscribe if you have not done so already, and do go and check out, where is it? TaurusCrypto.com, where you can find out more information about our community. Now, later on today, we are going to be trading the hour prior to New York session, which is a really, really nice session to trade. So if you ever see me using my volume sessions indicator on here, I have a little orange box that's called pre-New York volatility. And this is where we often get one of those pivots that we can trade, and you get a really nice trade that you can take the whole way through that New York session. So we're going to be trading that live with the crew later on today. And if you do want more information about that, then please do click on the crew section here, and that will give you more information about how you can sign up. You can also join our Discord. Okay, and this will give you, again, more information. We do have our events running there. So if you do look on our Discord, you can see that we have our New York Open trading room today at 1 p.m. UTC. So this is trading that hour and a half prior to New York. And then we have our other trading rooms that are listed on here as well. So any more information that you do need, feel free to go and join the Discord and you can find out everything you need to know there. Finally, just before we go back again, we are currently we're in the last few days now, but we do currently have this Bybit competition that we are running. You only need $100 of equity to join, and there are $1,000 worth of prizes to be won. So this is the trading competition over here. Okay, you can see the trading competition. The registration ends in 4 days. You've got a few more days to enter. But realistically, you don't have to get much profit to join this leaderboard here. So if you want to join in, get yourself on that leaderboard, win some money, then feel free to go and sign up over there. Also, if you do sign up with this link that is, of course, in the Discord, or the one that you see just here, okay, then that will take you through to sign up under our basically our registration, which will give you 0% limit orders. So you get 100% rebate on your limit orders for trading on the exchange using this link. And you can also get some other bonuses as well. So do make sure you take advantage of that if you would like to. Anyway, we will go back onto the charts and stop talking about this stuff now. So where are we on the chart? I'm going to go back into the lower time frames and we're going to talk about this a little bit. So as we can see, we took the short position here yesterday at 25,212. So an entry that was just above the weekend high that we put in at the weekend, obviously. So what we have from that, I'll just take this off. We'll go on to here. This was just this SFP. Now on the USDT pair, we didn't actually take out the highs of the range, but that wasn't necessarily what I was looking for. We basically had this situation yesterday where we had poor highs over the weekend and we were looking for those to get taken and then to get a retrace from that. Now the take profit for myself was around weekly open. Okay, where we actually had 2 take profits. So as soon as we came back down and took out this low from the mini range down here, that was the first take profit for myself. Again, as we came down into weekly open, and now we find ourselves just down here at, will this be the fixed range? Holding our value area low. And we've actually just had this other test of this, like literally just as we have been speaking. Okay, so you can see that test of value area low currently ongoing. Now, this is interesting for where we are at the moment, because obviously we know that the newbies were trying to trade the breakout yesterday. Not likely to work, okay, which is why we took those short positions. But we still have a situation where so far today we have made another higher low. Now for myself, I was looking ideally to take out this low and to keep this one intact. So to look for a long position within here and to then look to trade that potentially as a breakout. But what we've had overnight has been really quite interesting. So if you start to look at the order flow, okay, and this is where things like exocharts become really useful, we can see some really quite insane bullish divergence forming against the low that we had previously put in. Okay, so you come all the way down, you start to build these big divergences and a lot of short positions starting to open here. So when you start to see that, that can give you a really good idea and a really good indication that price might not actually be breaking down here. This is just, again, what we had spoken about previously, inducing those short positions, tempting those people, those bad traders, not bad traders, okay, just misinformed, maybe the ones that need a little bit more experience on the charts, those traders tempting those into those short positions down in these areas of the chart here, where basically you're at resistance, okay? You're at the lows of the range. You don't really want to be taking those short positions unless you're, of course, just trading the trend and you're taking profit very quickly, which is absolutely fine because, of course, the trend has been down. But you do get these situations where a lot of shorts start to come in. And then as we've seen so far this morning, we've got that bounce there. And this is just starting to clean up some of these short positions. I would anticipate that some of these start to get cleaned up and we do get a bit of a drop in open interest. Now, of course, this can be leading. But when you start to see this kind of thing on the chart, you do need to start to think, okay, we've got this divergence here. Has a low been put in? And are we looking at this bounce happening a little bit early without needing to necessarily take the liquidity that we have? So for myself, again here, if I do just pop open the Discord one more time, I was looking at this scenario yesterday, okay, to go long within that green box. And I basically said, it'd be very typical for BTC to drop into the green highlighted area, taking one low but holding above the other one. Kill the triangle idea, wipe out the traders who wipe out most traders who will go short as it breaks and then return to trading the range. So that was exactly the kind of thing I was looking for. I was looking to induce those short positions at the lows and then for price to get a decent bounce. But so far today, we have been holding this value area low. And that would naturally lead us to targets back towards that POC. Okay, so we can look towards this. This one here is actually our daily open. We just need to switch that up onto daily open over here. And this daily on this is probably not too valid. So we'll just clean this up a little bit. And that gives us some internal targets that we can look to. Of course, weekly open got tested here last night before getting that further drop down. And now I think because we have tested that once already, we can be looking up towards that daily open that happened at the start of the day. Oh my god, I've gone back too far. Let's just do this again, and there we go. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm looking for Bitcoin at the moment so far today. I do think a little bit of a move up is fairly likely, and it would be nice to get that move up to daily open. You can take the liquidity above there and then start to look again for those short positions. Now, if we do drop, then it does bring into us, although we do have those divergences there. Divergences don't always play out. It's kind of a 50-50 thing, but it's something that you need to be aware of. Then, of course, we do then have the main plan for myself, which was to then induce some more short positions if we go here. So if we don't start to clean up some shorts here, I do think we're likely to head down towards that 23,800 to 23,500 region and start to build in a nice number of short positions where you can see this rise even more. You can see those divergences then start to play out against this low here. And when we do look at the delta, then you can still see against this low continuing to build. Okay, so lots of selling going on, but maintaining those higher lows so far. So even if we drop down here, you're then going to have divergence against the actual low of the range as well there. So be aware of that. Do pay attention to that. And again, if you're looking at something like on Agritrade or something like that, then it's a very similar situation. Okay, we are getting some quite major divergences as we go down. So meaning that price is holding up quite nicely. Limit orders are holding price up. That means that the bids are chasing, and the market participants who are trying to short this consistently are not getting the return that they want, unless, of course, you're just trading the upper point in which taking the shorts from the areas in which you actually want to be taking the shorts. So yeah, that kind of covers this range. Now we do need to talk about, because this was the main idea of the video, talking about the targets. Okay, so we can turn this off. We can go on to some higher timeframes, and we can start to look at the potential for where this might end up going if and when, because not if, when we do break the range that we're in. So the bullish scenario, okay, we are consolidating beneath resistance. Above us, there's nothing. Okay, you have a nice low volume node that's coming in, which are actually quite good, because if you come in and you get sucked up, price gets sucked up into that void, then often that can be basically a magnet for price. Then you actually get some traders within that point. Because this is where, if you've got a low volume node there, it's where liquidations and stop losses will have previously occurred, mainly, not any kind of normal trading activity. So price will likely get sucked up into that, and that's where you're looking at basically like a first area of major resistance. And again, on the opposite side to that, you're looking at the high volume areas, which are coming in around that 29 to 30K region. You got that 23K region here just below, which is a high volume node, and the POC of our previous range from back here. Okay, just around there. And then you do have the ultimate POC. It is labeled as a high volume node, but this is the point of control of basically our entire chart, macro chart that we're looking at the moment. So that gives you a few areas in which to be looking at. Now we can start to add on to those with, let's start with breakdown, okay? Because we are at the low of the range. If we continue on with this trend, then we are going to be breaking down. So here are some things to be aware of. So interestingly, let me just clean this slightly once more. Let's take away the volume things. Then we can start to look at the previous range as being a very important area in the chart to be looking to obviously take these short positions down to, and to be looking for potential longs. So if you're looking at the range itself, so we had the low of the previous range and the high up here. When we had that deviation below, which happened last week, we came into that 382 to 0.5 region. Okay, so that's where it found support. And funnily enough, where have we found resistance as we get the deviation above it? So currently we are, of course, stuck just below the high of that range. So that does mean that, is this acceptance back into the previous range? This has happened once, twice, three times, thingy, since last Wednesday. Okay, so we have had that acceptance within the previous range, but it's never really played out, and you've been able to continue to come back up towards those highs and create the silly triangle things that the silly traders are talking about. Now, if we are to get trapped within here, then we do have targets below. So that gives us, first of all, yes, we have the bullish CVD divergence going on, so we can come down here and we can go back to that high. That still keeps us within this range. But if we are to come down and look at lower targets, we've got the EQ of this range that's lying just below the current range lows. So that gives us the previous range EQ lining up here at 23,288-ish. We've got our previous range point of control that comes in around a nice order block area at 22,800. And then we can be obviously looking a little bit further to the downside at our bigger POCs and all of that kind of thing. Okay, so those would be the main targets for myself if we are to get a breakdown below the lows of this range and this higher low structure starts to fail. And that gives you here and here. Now, if we're going to be looking above, we've got to do things a little bit differently because we, as I say, we've got a void of volume above us. So we've got to be looking at fibs. Because realistically, without volume, without anything to, essentially this would be a blue sky breakout because there's nothing really traded above this level. Yes, of course, we have been well above 25, 26K in the past, but it's a long time ago. So you want to be using recent price action. So you start to look at our fibs, okay? So if you're looking from our low to our high, again to our low, so this is at the point in which I would consider the impulse to have started. You had a little bit of a range forming down here, and then we had that impulse starting with like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we start to drop into this sideways range. Then we do have our 1-to-1 that's coming in around 27,200, and we do have our 0.618 that's coming in just below there, well, 25,600. So we've got 27, what did I say? I don't even know what I'm talking about. 27,120 and 25,677. Giving your like extension fibs from that. With some confluence there, if we're going to look at the range as a whole, where you have your 1.272, your 1.618, and your 2. So this gives us 3 little zones in the charts that you could therefore expect some resistance to lie. So I am looking at these 3 points. If we get a move up, I would be looking, first of all, let's take a little pit stop here. Let's see if it can continue. This one I probably like the most. And then if we can continue, then I would be looking up towards that 27,200. So this is how I would anticipate price to play out. And with each of these, you start to form those little local ranges and you can get those short opportunities. Now, this is what I was saying before. You don't just want to come up here and just go short because the likelihood of that is unlikely. But yeah. You want to find a range forming, and then you want to get those low SFPs where maybe you can take that down. And then even if you just get a local trade, a 0.5% move, then at least you've still made profit before you come up to the next level up here. Okay, so that's the kind of situation that I'm looking at. Whereas if you can catch a short, again, like I say, the short that we caught yesterday, then that can end up being really profitable because it could. Once you've had that low SFP and you've got your invalidation there, you could obviously trade that all the way back down again afterwards. But it makes it a very low risk trade at that point. When we do add the volume back onto there, again, you can see this is why I like it. This is lying right in the area where we have basically no volume at all. And then beyond that, we're really looking at the next point in the chart where there is any real volume is looking up towards that 28,800, 29K region. Now, the reason I put this low volume node here is this is, if you do look at the fixed range, this is a lot of information. I hope you're following. You might need to watch this a few times. then look, this is it. There's just nothing, okay? This is the lowest point on the chart. This is the lowest volume node that we have on a macro level. So it's just nothing traded there. So it's going to suck price right up into that zone. And that's probably where I'd look for that short position. It also, conveniently enough, is just the lows of our range that we had back in May and June 2022, which makes sense as there's no volume, because that is where you're going to hit your stop losses and liquidations as price starts to drop down. Okay, and that's why these things happen. So this has been a 20-minute long video. We have our trading room in 1 hour. So I'm going to have to wrap this up. I'm going to have to upload it and give you guys an opportunity to watch this before that starts. So thank you very much for watching. Please do remember to hit that like button, subscribe, do all of those kind of things. Comment below if you have watched the whole video, and give me your thoughts. And I will see you in the next one. Thank you very much, and bye.